You are now listening to Don Bosco Vibes on Radio Maria, Zambia. And my name's Victoire Chilofia. So today's topic is aggressive increase of junkies in our community. I'm sure we've noticed. So we have noticed with concern the high rate increase of junkies in our community. Hence, this need our help as citizens and as Christians. To start with, Mr. Kapambu, who is a junkie?
The word junkie actually comes from America, if I may use that word. It was coined to describe an individual with an obsessive behavior towards something. Okay, so it has to be obsessive and compulsive behavior towards something. Now, junk itself means trash, isn't it? Okay. So it was related to drug users who use narcotics to an extent that they were deemed useless in the community. Okay? So the terminology junkie, although we don't subscribe to it as Serenity, simply refers to an individual who struggles with substance use problems. Okay, so junkie in the sense that is he appears, he or she appears unkempt. You know, they are not well dressed. They are malnourished. They look almost like criminals. Okay. But we need to actually realize that the word junkie itself doesn't automatically mean someone is a criminal. Okay? Just that maybe some of the behaviors and activities that they engage in are what now you can refer to as criminal. Okay. So in a nutshell, a junkie is a person with an obsessive behavior towards something. In this case, drugs.
The impact of junkyism or being a junkie could be health deterioration. You could have mental imbalance. There will be high crime rates. There's poverty, there's death, and you have people getting addicted, of course. And there's stigma, there's teen parenting, abortions, and even GBV. This is the impact that being a junkie presents itself. Junkies are found, I think, where we live, around our areas. But when we talk about the high rife of it, I think it's coming from the highly density populated areas.
When it comes to family and community, in terms of substance abuse, maybe we can put it that way, in people, the community has got a very important role to play. So it's the family, in a sense that most of the people that engage in substance abuse, most of them, and the trigger is from the family, or maybe the community also does not provide that maybe environment for them not to engage. The community, in a sense that we lack certain activities, maybe recreation facilities that can at least take away the time that people engage in these vices and do something positive about. When it comes maybe to family also, it's about how well are we talking about these issues with our kids or maybe our dependents to educate them, because we cannot pretend that they come across this information from their peers and from school. So as family members, we have a lot to give them information, the young ones, of course, because they're the majority that are addicted to these substances, which you psychoeducate them, warn them about the dangers of using substance, and also put in mechanism that you are able to monitor your kids out if they are in any way using, because most of these behaviors are visible. And another thing that maybe from what I've observed is that the parenting styles that I think we have lost it as a community now in terms of how we are parenting our kids today. We just think about taking them to nice schools, giving them money. We don't even monitor how they use that money, because most of them, like she mentioned that most of them, they're coming from, actually, people that are addicted, they're coming from well-to-do families. They have everything at their disposal. But family, maybe parents don't even monitor who they spend time with, how they spend the money. The child will just come, oh, that day I need the 100 kwacha, no, this and you give. Oh, I need this and this tomorrow, you give. The next time now you just start seeing things missing at home. So as a community, and maybe also on the family level, we have a lot to do, and that borders, of course, on how, of course, we have to parent.
Okay, so that has just reminded me something. I usually go in schools, and so this teacher was explaining as we were talking about our program. Then this teacher just mentioned to say, you know, these children really go through a lot because parents are not there to guide them and even to talk to them. They are not there to give them attention. Once they are sent to school, that's it. You know, this child goes and hugs the teacher and begins to cry. And the teacher just goes and the teacher just says to say, it's because we are given the responsibility, but their parents do not really have the attention to get to listen to the children. Would you say that could also be one of the reasons why today we have junkies, because we've never paid attention when they were little? We never had time to, pay attention as a parent.
As Daniel has pointed, the type of parenting, okay, the environment you've provided for your children, are you too harsh or too soft on them? What kind of the sources of education within the family? I'll give an example where I take alcohol as the father, and I take it in excess that I even maybe engage in GBV, and my children are watching, okay? So I'm already educating them on what they need to do when they become adults. They have to drink and beat their wives or their girlfriends. So the sort of education I'm inferring while I'm parenting is a bigger part. But to maybe broaden it up, before we blame anyone for addiction, we need to understand that genetics plays a part. Okay? Some of our brothers who are struggling and sisters with substance use, some of them have genetic predisposition. They are vulnerable genetically. Okay, so that tells you I can pass on genes of vulnerability to addiction to my children. Genetical. That's number one. Number two, our mothers, prenatal predisposition. When a mother is expecting, she's pregnant, and she decides to take any amount of alcohol, even a teaspoon, you've put your child into a danger zone. Okay? There is a correlation. Mothers who take alcohol or drugs such as marijuana, they do pass through the placenta and affect the child, such that when the child is 20 years, they begin to crave for substances more than the other. So you as a mother, you've made your child to be vulnerable from before they are even born. So today you are going to blame them that they are junkies, but you are actually the source. So I've talked about genetics, spoken about prenatal predisposition. I can also speak about, the availability of substances in our communities. When I was in my teens, to buy alcohol, you needed to actually move for some kilometers to find it. Like nowadays, all I need is open my window and someone will pass me a form of bottle. So before we crucify our kids, of course they need to take responsibility, especially when they break the law. But let's realize as a community that we've made them vulnerable.
Judith, could there be a purpose agenda to destroy family values?
Yes, there is. There's actually a purposeful agenda to destroy families. When you look at some organizations that are pushing for these newly human rights, things like same-sex rights, artificial intelligence, and these other many things that are really out of our culture and tradition. So you find that with this, there's really an urgent need for us as Christians or as citizens, to help promote back our cultural values and traditions, our tradition norms. Look, with the coming in of the same-sex marriages, this is what is also dilapidating our moral decay. It has gone down. And as a result, you find that a boy is being sodomized and they can't tell anybody. The moment a boy child is being abused or sodomized, and the moment they would want to tell somebody, they will be labeled as being weak. Hence, we've seen also the increase of people or our men committing suicide because there's nowhere to go to, And as a result, what do? They will engage in cannabis, they will engage in heroin, they will engage in Benylin, so that at the end of the day, they escape from the reality that is happening unto them. And it's also the same with the girl child. This child is being abused in a home by their own biological father, by their uncle, or the lesbianism that is going on, and no one wants to seem to talk about it, but these are things that are happening mumanyumba mwatu. And this girl child is being threatened or you'll be taken back to village, because the moment you do this, there will be no more school for you and you go back to the village and suffer. So what does this person do? This is when this adolescent now becomes aware of what they are doing, and with them not having this counseling services near to them, they engage in illicit alcohol abuse and drug abuse.
What are the interventions, as you are coming from Serenity Wellness Center, doing to help the families?
One of the most important things that we do is we do what you call family support groups. Okay. Especially for parents or guardians that have kids or their kids that are addicted to substances. So, because another important thing that if they are not aware, they are enablers also. So we need to psychoeducate them about substances and the role that they have to play in terms of the treatment of that child. So we offer family therapy sessions as an intervention to curb the vices. And we also offer family support groups for parents that, of course, having dependents or kids that are addicted to substances.
Okay. Yes. Do you have stakeholders that you work with?
The key stakeholder is government, actually. Okay. We are allies with, we are partners with the Ministry of Health. Suffice to even mention that our official launch as an organization was graced by the Minister of Health.
Okay.
Yes. So government may be blocked, but Ministry of Health and Drug Enforcement Commission are our key partners. They are our partners in the sense that we approach the spectrum to prevention, to treatment, and to care from different vantage points. Okay, if you understand what I mean, is for us to manage the issue of substance use in Zambia, we engage in prevention activities. Okay, that is, we try to reduce the risks in vulnerable populations like children and mothers and the like. So this is done together with these key partners I've mentioned. In terms of treatment, that's where we come in as Serenity. We are more into clinical rehabilitation. As Daniel mentioned, we have a residential facility that helps people to stay with us for a minimum of 3 months to a year in treatment. Because addiction, simply put, is a disease of the mind. It's not literally a spiritual issue. It's not a moral issue. As people say, you are weak or you have sinned. It's a disease. The same way people have malaria. It's the same way the mind also gets sick by getting are dependent to a substance. So key partners, drug enforcement, who are more into what we call supply reduction. Supply reduction meaning their aim is to reduce supply of substances on the market. So they will use all forms of force or all methodologies they use. Perhaps that's the methodology the police also are trying to use by arresting, by confiscating substances. But we understand that one approach doesn't solve the puzzle. We have to team up. The church is a key partner. Serenity is actually founded together with the Capuchin Franciscans of Zambia. So there is that ecclesiastical touch, if I may use. We are in the Diocese of Lusaka, so automatically the bishop is our partner. And we are working together in parishes. For people who are listening to us and they are from parishes, please, when we give our contacts, so you find us online, contact us. We do programs at parishes to help people understand issues of mental health, issues of alcohol and drug use, and a number of other things around mental health. So I can't give you the full list of our stakeholders, but they are quite many.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Judith. And also thank you to Serenity Wellness Center for coming through on our show. And we appreciate your words of wisdom, and we'll still appreciate you again next week. So my name's Victoria Chilufya. Let's meet again on Don Bosco Vibes.